Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is Mike with Just Another G.I. Joe show. Sorry for the lateness. As usual, and Fred loves to say, I had technical difficulties. For some odd reason, Skinny was blocked from getting on the YouTube channel, which is kind of funny. And I'm on the phone talking to Josh from Cybercast trying to figure it out. And he's like, well, did you kick him out? I'm like, no, I didn't kick nobody. I don't know what the hell happened. So we got it finally figured out. He's unblocked. He's on here. Again, sorry for being late. Again, I'm Mike. I'm joined by Fred as usual. And
there's David.
And now we're joined with David as well. We have Skinny and Stefan. Is that how you pronounce your name? I don't know if he heard me. Hello? Can you hear me? Man with the beret? Hello? He muted me. Can you hear me now? Gosh, technical difficulties are bad tonight.
Ooh, I need a technical difficulty sign.
I'm telling you, man. It's like, please stand by while we get our crap together. But for tonight's show, we are going to be talking about In the Dreadnoks puppet video. And you'll all have to remind me on this. I believe this is the second one y'all have done. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, no, I think it's the third.
Is it the third one?
Well, we've done so many, we just haven't posted them yet, right, David?
Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that's right. We've done 900.
Oh my goodness! So many puppet videos, so many splitters.
He got tired of filming them all, so he's holding my Mucknox hostage right now.
So tell us how y'all got started, who does what, and what's the whole scenario and everything you're doing.
Well,
go ahead, Ted.
Basically, I came up with an idea for a parody, and the songs were done, but I couldn't get the people to do this that did the songs, sang the songs, except for Stephen here, to actually appear in the video. And in his case, he's in Salt Lake City, so it's kind of hard to get him here to do that. But it was a improvise and adapt kind of situation, and that's how it all got started.
Yeah, it was one of the fun things was, I'm charging my phone a second, was to have kind of, like Ted was saying, it's very much a learning process. His whole goal was to do it live, capture the puppets doing everything, on location, in an alley for the first one, and in a in various different locations around town that would kind of meet the need. But then it got to the point where the arms in the shot and the various obstacles we had as far as editing, when it just got down to the point where green screen would be a lot easier. And then, of course, in the production value went up a little higher as far as what we're capable of doing on our level.
So
it was a lot of fun.
Now, all y'all live in different cities and states, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how do y'all do this now when y'all are in different states and cities? Do y'all take a vacation week and get together, or
I wish all done over the internet? Go ahead, Stephen.
Oh, yeah. No, Skinny was just like, hey, we want to do this. And I went, all right, I got some stuff. Why not? And he would send me a lyric sheet, and then I'd sit down and I'd try to sing it. And I go, well, this might need to change this rhyme. My brain's going this way or that way. And then I would send him the audio files, and he'd go, well, I like this. I like that. Can we do this instead? Can we change? Like with this last one, I think most of that background vocals was just a scratch track. I was up late one night. As soon as he sent it to me, I went, oh, this sounds like fun. I bet I could do like a Dreadnok impression. So I am at like 1 a.m, screaming into my microphone, hey, Zlatan! And my wife's in the bedroom going, dear God, would you shut up? What are you making all that noise for? And then he's like, I love it.
She's thinking divorce in the back of her mind.
Right? So anyway, so I send him, and he's like, oh, I love him. Don't change it. I went, oh, okay. I guess I'll just leave that alone. And then, we went through what was it, Skinny? Like at least 6 different things we could have done with Zartan or the recruit or whatever. And then once we finally settled on the sound, once I got the audio mixed the way he liked, then he was able to take it over and have the rest of those guys do their video magic with it. So
Okay. And when did y'all start doing these the videos? I mean, you've done 2 or 3 for sure, or
We did. We've
Yes.
got 3 for sure. We've got the first one, which was the one in the alley, Dreadnok Life. Then we did a little Christmas ditty with Steven here. And then after that, we did this one in the Dreadnoks. And we got a short little one with Sergeant Slaughter, but that doesn't involve Steven or anything. So
he tried to have it involve me, but I can't do a Slaughter impression to save my life. So
is that the same one you asked me to do?
I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I remember when we talked about that. Okay, cool.
I would say if you guys are laying down a voice track and syncing it in later, you ought to try to hit up some of the cartoon voice actors just to see what the heck, you might actually get one of them to be willing to drop it in for fun.
I was in Los Angeles. I asked Zach, and I never heard back from him. So
There's certain, if you can find the right voice actor, they'll do it. I mean, that's usually golden. You gotta. I know.
Bill Ratner has worked for me before. So Bill Ratner, he'll like walk off to the side and he'll record it, and then he'll send me an email the next day. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
And so what was the idea of getting it going? The reason why y'all started to do this? I mean, what was just for
Just for fun,
Just for fun.
And as you know, I love G.I. Joe, and this is my way of expressing my love for G.I. Joe. So.
And then the other 2, y'all just like, okay, I got nothing better to do. I'll do this puppet video.
Yeah. For me, it was a learning experience on how to, do. Of course, going back to my original statement was Ted wanted to do all these, all the shots, all the different puppets in one shot, in various times. So a lot for me, it was an opportunity to advance my craft as an editor and a guy who does the cinematography and stuff like that. So that was my goal initially, was just, hey, I can learn a lot from doing this. I can use this craft and various other things that I do as a professional.
Okay. And so who actually has the puppets? Who owns them?
That would be me.
Those would be Ted's.
So Ted has all.
When it comes to creating the characters, he's got this awesome vision of what they would look like, and he can use the same puppet for various different characters. He's quite creative in that area as well.
Now, did you make the puppets yourself, Skinny?
Basically, they are called. You could buy them from FAO Schwartz. They're called a whatnot, and they're just blank. You put the eyes on, you put the nose on, you put the wig on, the costumes on, and you've got Zartan. So basically, I bought all the accessories and put them on the puppets. But yeah, you just buy them from FAO Schwartz. Well, you used to be able to. Now they're gone. But that's all you have to do, really.
All right, Mike. I think that I think it's time to roll one of these.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll do my technical difficulties issue again. No, I took it off of you. You can't share nothing now. I knew you were getting your paper out.
What? I was flipping a light. We're all good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were getting ready to put a paper up to say something.
I have lots of paper I can write on.
Can you do us a flip book version of the video just in case it doesn't work?
We'll act it out with the random figures on my desk,
Perfect.
All right, so this is the newest one. Can y'all hear it?
No.
You can't hear it?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
I saw it though.
Hold on. Tell me now if you can hear it.
I can hear that you're hearing it.
That is the greatest screensaver, though, ever right there.
It gets the
A
point across.
Muppet Ripper with 2 giant miniguns behind it. Like,
Oh, I know what it is.
it's the stuff of Sesame Street alcohol-induced nightmares. I love it.
You found our secret.
Oh my God, I suck at this so bad.
Mike, one of these days you're just going to hand the controls over to someone else. We'll tell you, just be pretty. It's okay. Just be pretty.
Can you hear it now?
No.
Negative Ghost Rider. I'm sorry, Captain what's his name?
Yeah, we're going to watch it. I think I can hear it. Oh, I know I can hear it. Never mind. I'm going to try to see if I can hear it on the channel.
I'd say there ought to be a way to do it like as a stream or a screen share.
That's what I was thinking too.
I mean, heck, if there was a guy recently who streamed Joe cartoons on Facebook Live for 24 hours, and believe me, I watched a good hunk of. It's like Sunbow. I've seen these all how many times before, but nope. I'm sitting there on a Sunday night on my phone, live commenting with other people. We're like, man, the Baroness is just kind of a bitch. Live commenting with other people. We're like, man, the Baroness is just kind of a bitch.
All right.
Well, while Mike is figuring this out, can somebody talk a little bit more about basically kind of what we're seeing here? Okay, you said this is all green screened, correct? So
Yeah.
Okay, the process starts, somebody scripts it. Then, I mean, if I'm understanding this, so Skinny scripts it. He sends it out to the talent to record the voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which would be Steven. And then you, Pat, then, okay, so you get the audio file back. Then what happens? Who does the green screen work and the filming and the final editing?
Okay, so Ted and I, how we've been kind of going through this is Ted and I will get together, or Skinny, excuse me, we'll get together, and we'll plan a particular date. We'll meet at the particular location, and then we'll do a back alley deal. No, I'm just kidding. Then we'll go, we'll light it. We'll do, we'll set up the green screen. We'll set up the cameras. Usually, 1 or 2 cameras at minimum per shot. It's for the most part recently it's all been 2.7 or 4K.
Okay.
Just for green screen purposes. We'll have the audio playing in the background, and either he or the other talent will do, we'll basically puppet sync, I guess is what you'd call it, instead of lip syncing the audio, and then with that, that media I'll take and go into the computer, load it, and I use Final Cut X, Final Cut Pro, and then I just basically go through the meticulous process of, second by second, creating the layers of media behind them. For example, the green screen, you'll see the puppet, but it's green screen, so he's cut out. But then you'll see, the background, which is one layer, the effects going in front of the background, the numerous layers behind them is not just, one static layer of media behind them. Sometimes it's as many as 12 different layers for one individual shot. So that's basically the process. And you kind of go through. I'll send him a version of what I think it would look like, and be what I think the final version. Hey, nope, we need to change this. Let's change that. Of course, I'm not as deep into the G.I. Joe realm as y'all, but he is. So he's, well, no, it's the grenade has to be on the left shoulder. The particular article of G.I. Joe memorabilia has to be on this particular location. So I'll go in and I'll manipulate the different characters, per Skinny's desire, and then he basically has a final say in what it should look like, and then it's finalized and rendered out, and then export it to like Dropbox, and then it's his from that point on. But it's a long process. It's not like an overnight.
Final say in what it should look like.
Mike, I think your speakers are up.
Rendered out, and then
Yeah, it's
It's an infinite loop.
This is a frequent happenstance on this show when Mike does screen shares.
yeah.
It's like we're peering into an alternate universe. In one of those, Mike is like crazy tech savvy and is working everything. And so, okay, so then what would you guys say is the end? Okay, so you get your edit done. Then do all of you get a sign off on it, or who gets final say that, okay, the voice, I like the voice track, I like the editing, I like everything. Who gets final say prior to publication?
Yeah, Skinny does. Yeah.
Yeah. As a producer, I say, okay, this is what we're done with, and then David said, well, what if we did this, and then we'll add a shot or two. But
and about how long would you say, once you've got a script in hand, about how many hours would you say goes into one of these?
I couldn't even begin.
Oh,
to see how
don't
many-
tell him. Don't tell him. No.
Many.
I think that the longest drag is, I have a day job. I'm sure like most of you guys do,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
so that's usually the longest drag. Well, I'll have to I'll have to find time here, find time there, and that kind of thing. And that really is, as far as editing time itself, maybe this last one was probably a total of maybe 45 hours total.
Okay.
But I'm very meticulous when it comes to, each second has to be, just right, and for my eyes, and then not to mention then Ted's eyes as well. Everything has to be just right, because we're both perfectionists, but we're both perfectionists with different points of view.
Mhm.
I have more of a non-Joe point of view, which seems to be more mainstream. And then, like this particular last one, he was aiming for more of a 70s look, look, feel, the whole 9 yards. And I basically threw in a little bit more of a modern look as far as contrast, color. The background was not all disco balls like you're mentioning, the Gatling guns and things like that would correlate. So those meticulous little notions you'll see in there, that to me is what gives it a little more production value, again, on our scale.
Okay. And so now, I don't remember if Mike asked this. How many of these would you guys say, for people who don't know about these, how many would you say you've published so far?
Me and Skinny, we've done the Dreadnoks, the Christmas one, the Talk one, this one, and so it's a total of 5 so far that I've helped with.
And then there was the October Guard Horror Show one, so that's 6. At least 6.
Okay.
And then we've
But
got...
you've only published 2 of them.
No, they're all on my channel.
They are also, so everyone can go to.
I have a
And
playlist.
I'm sorry, I cannot find. I can't get. I've done this before, and I've never had a problem doing it. But for some reason, I'm having a real hard time. This is not doing very good this week. So, in your YouTube channel is called
Barking Fridge, all one word.
Barking Fridge, all one word, and all the videos are there for anyone who wants to go check that out and subscribe to their channel, to that channel.
Yes, correct.
So, okay. So what would be, like, what spurs on the, and I know, I'm asking about the creative process, which is a nightmare to ask about, but like, okay, so what spurs the ideas for these? Is it, just you're watching something on TV and it's like, what? Hey, that would be a funny send off to do. Or is it more of a, like, did you have an arc in mind? Did you have specific ones that you wanted to do, all of you, in terms of, and then kind of talk us through like how do you determine what you're going to do?
Skinny's driving down the street in his car, and he's like, "Hey, this would be a great song." And
Yeah, pretty much.
he just records the video and go, "Here, dude, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right." let's do it. So we've got like 3 in the pipe already, and it was just a matter of which one. And I'm like, it's AC/DC. How are we not going to do that next? So
very nice.
So you will see. Basically, I'm going to dress the puppets out in their cold slither uniforms. So we will actually have them in their cold slither uniforms for the next video.
Excellent. Now, part of me has wondered, have you thought about doing like satirical takes on some of the scenes from the cartoon or from the comic? It's kind of like, like that online series, How It Should Have Ended, if you've ever seen those, where they'll they'll do the movie and then it'll be like, oh, Lord of the Rings, why didn't they just hop on the Eagles and fly and drop the rings and hey, we've saved ourselves like 9 hours.
We might have to do something like that.
Because the Joe universe has so much that you could do with this.
I mean, you will notice a lot of the songs I have put in references to the cartoon and the comics, and if you're not a diehard In the Wool fan, you won't pick them up, but they're there. So, and Steven has contributed those as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal there as well. Like you'll see like the Dreadnok Life one, you'll see little explosions and little notions like that kind of was my take on a modern take on what it would have looked like back then if you were to upgrade the video or the cartoons for today's standards instead of being the choppy kind of action. It would be a lot more fluid. And and again, that goes back to Ted's overriding kind of desire to be very meticulous when it comes. No, it has to be like this, and it has to be like that. And I kind of appreciate that. So just this whole thing has just been a blast.
There are several emails flying back and forth between myself and David.
I'll send him a screenshot, and he'll no, that's not right. Let's do it this way instead. And it's the knowledge that Skinny's got on the whole genre. Going back, and I think that would be a genius idea to go back and find a particular interaction between the Dreadnoks themselves, and then reenact it with the puppets and have them, because you can do so much more live action, but it wouldn't, with puppets and green screening, there's really no limit as far as the creativity you can throw at something and have them just the audience would. I laugh because during the editing process, I'm sure like anybody you guys have done video editing before, you'll slow down so their voices are really slow. And you'll speed up a situation and make them really fast, or you'll put a portion of dialogue in the wrong place and make them say something completely out of sync. Those little notions like that just make me laugh. It drives my wife crazy because I'll play that particular sequence about 1,000 times, and but going from me, that's just like, man, I wish we could do this, but it doesn't fit. But if we were able,
it just make me laugh. Drives my wife
Sorry.
crazy.
Anyway.
Interesting. And okay, so I had another question here. Crap. You can tell it's just been a long day. And I'm assuming you guys are all fans. I'm getting the impression you're not just Joe fans, but I'm kind of getting a strong Muppet Show sense of satire with this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're all speaking the same language when it comes to that, because there's something about when you do something with something in the realm of Muppets, it's automatically satirical.
Right.
Yes.
And it opens so many doors for you to do things. You're like, did a puppet just say that? Did a puppet just threaten he was going to blow up the world's oil reserves for, or some crazy Cobra Commander? Like, I think Cobra Commander as a Muppet would just be brilliant.
That's what I was thinking when they were talking. I was hoping, because he said they were gone now, but I'd love to see a Destro or a Cobra Commander puppet. That'd be awesome to see.
Well, there's one that David is working on right now, and it's close to that, but not quite. But I don't know exactly what it is.
We can't talk about it right now, though.
Oh, why not? We want to
It's
know.
actually from a singer that I met back in 2014, and we're finally getting this particular song put to video. So I'm really excited to see that one come about.
Okay. Now,
Oh my goodness!
Now,
Do you want to tell them what the song is kind of? Did you want to tell them what the song is kind of loosely resembling, or?
Yeah, you gotta give us
Cranberries.
something.
That's all I'm going to say. Cranberries.
Oh,
Nice.
he's leaving them hanging.
That's right.
That's the worst.
Now I got to ask, who have you all shown these to? Have you actually gotten, feedback from people about these, in terms, and what's the feedback been?
Feedback's been pretty positive.
Yeah, I show them, to my wife and kids who are not, heavy into, 80s cartoons or anything like that, other than maybe like Scooby-Doo. And they're like, okay, I like the video. I'm trying to understand what's going on here.
That's usually the response I get.
Yeah, it's okay. But, for people who are in the G.I. Joe world, it's like, what? Like, okay, all right.
Nobody's done anything like this. I mean, this is, you guys have managed to find a niche that is completely unique. People have done Dio stories. People have done, just little, hand-drawn single panel comic kind of things, but nobody's done puppet parody yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. Finding a little niche that I was watching a particular video series recently where it's music videos, but they take out the music, and the particular artists are just, making nonsense gestures without the music, but the guy who's editing it does the sound effects. I think if you look up "without music" on YouTube, you'll see various different, just things like that are just so creative, out of the box. Nobody ever thought of it before. I think that lends to, Skinny's idea of what we're doing here. It's just, okay, now there's puppets doing, going through the process of editing it and filming it. And we're like, I don't know how this is going to fit. What this will look like. And it's very much like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. You kind of get the sense as you go what the final product will look like.
Sure.
And then you kind of build on that. Well, if we did this, now what if we added this to that? And that just kind of adds to that creative process. And Skinny sometimes pulls me back and says, no, that's too far. Rein that in, buddy. No farting or nothing like that. So that's the process a little bit too.
No farting is a specific Disney rule about Muppets, by the way. I think everybody should know.
That's right.
Okay, I did not know that, and that
Yes.
actually kind of makes sense now that with some of the stuff
Yeah.
I've seen.
Jason Segel had mentioned that when they penned him for that the Muppets remake or reboot or whatever, and he had mentioned that in one of the special features that they had this huge list of things that Muppets cannot do and cannot say and one of them was farts. There's fart jokes just doesn't work unless and he had to fight tooth and nail to get, if I don't know if anybody remembers that movie much, but like at one point Fozzie's got these fart shoes on. And that was the only way it worked because they weren't real farts. It was Fozzie's shoes. So there can't be real fart jokes. It's just such a weird list of things.
They didn't know there were grown men children that like fart jokes. Gosh. So
I know.
outside the Muppets y'all done, what do y'all do? But Skinny, we know you do cosplay. Do y'all do anything else with the community stuff besides puppets? I mean,
that's pretty much it. I mean, the cosplay, the puppets on. I'm working on a couple live action ones right now. Haven't had much luck with those. I'm going to try and do some more things with that. One of the new comic book characters, Don Marino, I'd actually contacted a stunt woman, and we're going to see if we can do a ninja shoot. Maybe I'll just fund it, but it'll be in California, and she'll do all the stunts, and she'll be in a Don Marino costume. So I'm looking forward to that. Kind of working on that as off to the side with the puppet thing. So.
Did you are you going to try again with the missile background drop?
Probably not. I do have some other ideas for some Kickstarters, but the missile backdrop is dead. So.
Is it? Okay, I hate to hear that. That was a pretty good idea you had going there.
Now, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys remember the Springfield Joe Con? And a couple of years ago, they had some locals that filmed, those videos with Cobra Commander around town and all that.
I remember those.
And then I think it was 2009 or one of those where the club had done like some basic CG stuff to be like, you know, a kind of a con promotional video.
Yeah.
Have you thought about contacting FunPub for the final convention that they're doing and seeing if they'll let you guys put together and work with them on a puppet promo?
I'll email Brian tonight.
Yeah, we're
Because I
thinking-
think that would be hilarious.
Well, yeah. Well, Skinny had asked me. He when they finally got all of the information sorted out for this final one, he asked me if I was going and I was like, well, I don't know, maybe. And he's like, "Cause I'd really like to do cosplay of these Dreadnok Muppets, but like full size." And so I was like, "Oh my god, I almost have to go now if we're going to do something like that." And then my brain started running. Oh my God, will Brian let us dress up as life-size Muppets and sing these songs live for like half an hour, 45 minutes? Because I'll slam out enough songs to do a set if he'll let us get up on stage dressed up as Muppets and just
You
do
know
a
what?
full-on Muppet show.
Even if you set it up at the costume contest on a stage, and it would take a lot of practice because all the behind-the-scenes stuff I ever watched with about the Muppet Show and the crazy voice syncing work, but that would be hilarious. Is you've got all the cosplayers there, and then all of a sudden, you get the Muppet walk Bob, and then and it would be hilarious.
That'd be fun. I mean, if they let Kavanaugh dress up as a big green man and jump around the stage, why won't they let them dress up as puppets, walk around the stage?
We might have to discuss that, huh, Steven?
Yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? Kick us out?
Yeah, the final joke on.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I mean, you could still bring the puppets and walk around the con with them. I mean, even at a BotCon, there was a guy who it was called a Shattered Glass Ravage.
Mhm.
And he would walk around with the Ravage, interacting with people as they walked around.
Oh, cool.
And they never said a word to him about it. People enjoyed it.
In
Kids.
Springfield, Buzzer was there. He was at 3D Joe's booth in Springfield. So.
Okay.
And again, it's the last con.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are they going to do? You can't come back in 2019.
Okay, neither can you.
No.
You
Okay,
can't
fine.
Sitting over there. Oh, geez, he's making another video. This means more work for me.
Yeah, I kind of like this idea of a have you come up with a name for these yet? I mean, we have Muppets, we have, the Croft creatures going back to Sid and Marty Croft. Have
Pretty
you?
much, they're Muppnoks. MUPNOKS. Muppnoks.
You know what? Then the Muppnoks need to promote the con. I'm telling you, this could be a thing.
That'd be a lot of fun. The challenge is, of course, like I started off with, is hiding the arms so people don't know this is all what you'll see, and then all of a sudden here comes the puppet. Ah! So, again, I like the whole the idea of having a live, an entire suit. That'd be kind of, but the challenge there is finding a seamstress or a Muppeteer, or I don't know what they would call it. Because for example, if you watch the Muppnoks, they're right in the middle of it when one of the characters is riding the motorcycle, the wig falls off, and it fits the shot because it's funny. I left it in there because it kind of talked about her hair and that kind of thing. But I can just imagine something like that happening, live, where a part of the suit comes off or drops off, or I think that would be just hilarious.
How many times did Torch's nose fall off, David?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. As a matter of fact, I left his one shot there in that last one. I was doing some pickup shots at home in front of the green screen at home just because the location wasn't available. We were shooting previously, and I send it to Ted. I left it there on purpose where he's doing a profile shot where the camera's way, and then the nose falls off, and then he turns the camera and looks, and he just stares there without a nose for just like a split second, And Ted said, okay, well, we can leave that there. All right, that's funny. And, little things like that, it adds to just the little bit of flavor. So, but yeah, having a
we need to
having a
post
live
the flags
show of that would just be crazy.
Now, how hard was it to, get do they use like hot glue to put parts on, or
the magic of Velcro?
Magic of Velcro, okay.
Yeah, that and double-sided tape. As far as Ted doesn't really know that yet. The pickup shots, I didn't use Velcro. I did, for example, the hats kept falling off, and the Velcro kept, breaking loose from the puppets. So I used double-sided, like the industrial strength double-sided tape. So the hats, the mustaches, the noses, and the beard, and various different parts on the Muppets would stay. Because I would do this a lot just for my sake. While I'm editing, I need a break, a comic relief while I'm editing. So I'll add some relief to myself, and I'll just throw in something crazy. And I'll cut to that. Just
aspect of it, that running the Muppets in your hand, which I've done that too. Not only does your arm get tired, but these are designed for kids.
Oh,
so
yes, that's right.
So you're kind of doing the Hulk thing where it's like busting out at the seam.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. For example, the mouth, the actual mouth part is so rigid. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you remember back in the 70s, they have those grips where you're working out your wrist and your hand with those little spring-loaded grips.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's very much what these puppets are. They're so rigid to get the mouth open and closed. And like, because we had a one day where we had like 3 of us. It was a longer shoot. We had to go through this particular song, like several times. So we had 3 people set in on one puppet, on one shot. Because the hands just kept getting wore out. Ted would take a shot, getting the shot done. Go through the lyrics. Tracy would step in and do a couple shots of the lyrics. Do a couple shots, and all the same puppet, which is fun because you can get different. Each of us have different personalities, and we kind of act it out through the puppet. So sometimes you'll see a puppet that's kind of stationary, and then you'll see that same puppet later being very animated, and then later you'll see that same puppet kind of animated, and that's because 3 different people played that same puppet at various portions of the shoot.
It's because the caffeine's kicked in.
That's right.
Mountain Dew on set.
You Diet Mountain Dew. You need chemicals in your life, I guess.
All right, so I got to ask. I'm going back to our voice talent here for this. So you're recording these. How long would you say your recording sessions are?
I can usually go an hour or 2 if I've got a couple of hot cups of tea and whatever to keep my voice, going, and or I'll take a break and grab something to eat. But and then I end up spending, kind of like Dave, just so many more hours post-production, because I mean the song's only 3.5 minutes long or whatever, so I just kind of run through it a couple of times, make sure I get a good take, and then I'll try to get most of that part done in the first 2 or 3 hours of recording. That then I'll have to come back. Like in this one, our initial idea for the end of this was they were all cruising around in a limo, and then they all got up and left. So I had actually gone out to my car I made like a little mobile recording studio, and I ran out to my car. So it would sound like there was somebody in a car and doors shutting and everything. And it sounded cool. And then it just didn't work out that way. So I had to go back months later and re-record a different ending so that it would sound like it did there, like they all just left the studio, not left the car. And so sometimes you got to try to get back into that frame of mind. Like, wait, how was I singing this? What was I doing? And like with this one, like I said, initially they were all scratch tracks. So I don't even, I just kind of threw them down real quick. But then I'll spend just hours and hours and hours balancing the audio, tweaking a little bit of this and that, changing the balance a little bit. And I've heard this song probably 200 times. And and so and all the fun little stuff that Dave was putting in, like the nose falling off, that was great, because I finally got to, when I started watching, when they sent me the final link, I'm like, oh god, yeah, this song, okay. And so
yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, it seems so familiar. So I mean, like if you hear it again, you know exactly what is showing, what the next shot is. I mean, like I think we did the first one was about 3 or 4 years, about 3 years ago now, I guess, something like that. But if I were to watch that on YouTube now, I can literally, by memory, I can tell you exactly what happens the next second, because I literally, like you were saying, I watched that thing like 100 times. Drove my wife and kids crazy because they had to hear it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
But that's part of the craft, and you can't watch movies or listen to movies like the same way anymore with this knowledge of how we do it. We know that's exactly how they did it too. They went through the sequence of trial and error, and anyway, in my case, hundreds of times through, because you have to listen to it and watch it in sequence, making sure each moment fits the next. Otherwise, the audience will look at it. Well, that didn't sound right. That didn't look right. That didn't. What happened there? Various little things like that. If it's not all just one shot after another that matches the one before, and then the one after, you didn't do your job right, kind of thing.
So I have a question, because again, this is you guys have spent hours working on this, from voice talent to production and puppeteering to editing. Do you guys do anything even remotely close in your day jobs, or is this literally all, hobby, passion, fan driven?
Well, repetition. I'm a FedEx guy, so
okay.
I do this. Repetition. How I pay the bills is I'm a driver for FedEx.
Okay.
But my second job is I do music videos, documentaries, promotional videos, everything from a missionary video for a guy who's going to Ghana, West Africa, all the way up to this, and basically literally everything in between.
Okay.
I'm going to Israel in March, doing a video there. I'm doing going to Mexico in April, doing a video there. So it's just as far as video goes, I do everything in between. So that's what I'm saying. Using this as a leaping board to learn stuff, green screen, compositing, like I said, some of those shots are literally 12 layers deep on the timeline.
And how about the rest of you guys? I mean, does this align with at all with your roles in this, with what you do in your 9-to-5s, or your theoretical 9-to-5s, because nobody works that anymore?
Well, for me, no, I work as a quality control czar at a plastic and science supply place in a warehouse. I mean, it's just kind of just regular warehouse stuff. It's kind of fun. But I used to be on the side of professional musician. I've in the Valley here. I've worked. I was the first bass player for the band Ghost Town, and I was one of the first guys in the Swagger the Band, which is an Irish band that tours around here. And it just got to a point after 10 or 15 years of playing in other people's bands where it stopped being fun. And I took a break, and I thought, okay, we got to get the fun back. Let's figure out what was wrong and how come it's not fun anymore. And I realized I was just helping other people live their dreams. It was, so you got some dude with a guitar is like, I want to be a rock star, but not really any sort of plan. And, then I need a bass player and a drummer and, a guitar player. And so the rest of us were all just there to help him have his dream, but we were just sort of along for the ride and weren't integral. And as me stepping out of any of those bands, it was obvious that anybody can step in and take my place. I wasn't part of his dream. I was just there to support him. And so, but there's still that creative part of me, and Skinny kind of pulled me out of retirement a little bit. And, he's, I think it started with, Skinny and I have been working behind the scenes at yojo.com. He does a lot of the comic reviews. I do a lot of the pictures and stuff. Okay. And so we've all gotten together and we've all talked before, and we were hanging out at con, and Skinny had done Milk Run, this little like animated thing he got with Robert Atkins. And I was like, dude, if there's a second one, like I want a little like bit part in it or something? And he said, yeah, sure, you know. And so we did a little sample, and he liked my voice, and then he's like, well, I'm kind of thinking of doing this. What do you think about that? And I'm like, yeah, I can sing, sure. And so that's how it all kind of built from there. So it's being a musician is something, it's part of who I am, despite the fact that I try to avoid it as much as possible. People, anytime you tell somebody you're a musician, there's like, oh yeah, can teach my daughter guitar or whatever, you can sing at my wedding or whatever crap. So
you can do that. You can sing at the wedding. If you remember that movie, man, I can't remember the guy who was singing at the wedding and like
The Wedding Singer.
What I try to remember it wasn't the movie The Wedding Singer. I think it was I can't remember in the wedding the guy who was actually singing in the wedding. Like it was like MF this. I mean, he just kept on. You remember what I'm talking about? Which movie I'm talking about?
Oh, I think I might have been The Wedding Singer, where he finally broke down. And he was just like, oh, yeah, and then he's going to leave you, and you're probably sleeping with that guy, and marriages are stupid. And yeah.
He gets building right, and he's doing that reception, and he just loses his stuff.
Yeah. And I don't blame him, because I've played weddings. I've shot weddings as a photographer. It's funny because everybody at a wedding wants their wedding to be unique and special, but they're all exactly the same.
Yep.
And it's just so annoying. It is so boring. And especially as a musician, because nobody's there to see you. You're not the reason anybody came to this wedding. So
let me ask you this. You said you did weddings. The one unique wedding that would be hilarious if they didn't tell you until you showed up that they were nudists.
Well,
you showed up and you're all dressed up, you got your camera, and then they all start coming out.
And then you're like, well, you're getting married for the personality then, aren't you?
David, you do weddings, don't you?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, yeah. I've not had that problem yet. Most of the weddings I do, or if not all, are fully clothed. What goes on inside the limo before and after, I'm not sure.
Most of. I like that.
Most of.
Well,
there's those couple back alley ones you don't want to talk about.
Yes. So yeah, there is that.
That's cool.
No, but they're. I've not had a weird wedding yet. I've done a few dozen, I guess now.
I always wanted to go to that
wedding. The videographer, not.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I always wanted to go to that wedding where you get the old boyfriend that's drunk is like, do you want to inject? Hell yeah, I interject. I love her.
That's usually during the reception where they kind of lose it a little bit, and at that point the camera equipment's too expensive, so I do the wide shots instead of the close-ups at that point.
It's like it was time to pack up and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, pretty much. And of course, you need to add that in the contract. Okay, no alcohol on the cameras. At that point, we leave. So.
Oh man.
In the Irish band, we were always wearing kilts at weddings. So if it was suddenly a nudist wedding, we weren't that far behind, anyways.
That's a good one. Now, Skinny, do you even have a job, Skinny? I mean, he does everything else. I was like, what does he have to work a job? What do you do?
Basically, I also work at a warehouse.
Oh, okay.
Inventory control things all day.
Okay.
Mike, when you work for the CIA, you can't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
As far as my job, there's a lot more federal in Federal Express than you'd expect.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, had to.
So if you guys could do, let's say, okay, you know what? One of you hits the lottery, decides, guys, we got budget, we got time.
Oh, no doubt.
You could do anything with this concept. So you could make any Muppnox video you wanted. Each one of you, what would it be? Like if it's, My Heart Will Go On from that god-awful song from Titanic. If it's a parody of, the A-Team, I don't care. What would it be?
Oh, I'm thinking for sure Prince is 1999. Somehow. That's got to fit in there somehow. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. Of course, that goes back to Ted's approval.
Well, we could call it 1994, the death of G.I. Joe.
There you go.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Great. Now I got 4 songs. Let me write that down. A list of things I got to do.
And I just sent you another one last night, too, remember?
Oh, yeah, you probably did.
Well,
No,
guys,
but I think that'd be huge. Especially with the passing of Prince, that kind of thing. Adding just because I'm sure there's not very many Prince fans that are G.I. Joe fans also. But I'm just saying, if there were, that'd be the way to do it.
maybe you could get them singing Purple Rain.
Hey,
Yeah.
Instead
there
Instead of Purple Rain, it's
Purple
Cobra.
soda.
Purple
See?
soda. Purple soda.
see, there you go.
That'd be hilarious.
No, it'd have to be Purple Drake for the rhythm.
Okay.
Purple Drake, Purple Drake.
See, no, that's what I'm talking about.
That's funny.
Nice.
And that's just how it starts. You just think, boom, there it is.
It starts because it seemed like a good idea at the time.
That's pretty much it.
Isn't that your production tag? Barking Fridge. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah,
It might be.
If it isn't, it should be, because that's great.
Well, okay, Fred. I'll answer your question. You ready for this?
Fire away.
Rise of Cobra.
Just
Muppet.
the whole thing is
Yes! It's practically filled with Muppets anyway. Well, no, wait. The Muppets are more lifelike than Channing Tatum.
Oh.
Ooh.
That would be hilarious. Accelerator suit Muppets, but you deliberately you slow them down so much. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
Decelerator Muppets.
Decelerator Muppet.
That's a good one there.
Right now, David is like so lost.
no, I have a visitor in the room with me who's trying to explain non-verbally what's going on. That awkward moment when your wife walks in the room. What are you doing?
Go away! Go away!
No, go away! You won't understand.
No, the house is not burning. I'm recording.
And then she just goes, walks out the door. or she sits there and waits to see what you guys are actually talking about. No, honey, really, we're just talking about G.I. Joe. Really.
This is why I come into the office to record these now, because my better half was standing in the door the one time, like, what? The whole time. She was like, and then she gives me the nerds and walks off, and I'm like,
When you say that, I think of the WWE, the one that goes nerds.
yep.
All right, that's the first thing I can think of. But all right, well, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. We're gonna go to our regular other crap we talk about. If you want to hang in and talk with us about it, you're more welcome to.
Yeah, I already sent the wife away, so I got nothing to do.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, did any of y'all hear about all the news that came out of New York Comic Con for G.I. Joe?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Mm-mm.
You mean that?
Oh,
exactly.
newsflash.
Nothing. Nothing whatsoever.
There we go.
Hold on. The only zero, zip, nada. We got nothing from New York Comic Con. The only thing we got from New York Comic Con, which you can find at your local Toys R Us, if you're into pop characters or if you're into, like me personally, Destro is my favorite character. I had seen this on ToysRUs.com. I was going to purchase it there, but then I thought I'll just swing by my Toys R Us store because all these other pop figures are showing up the day of or the weekend of New York Comic Con, and they had put a case of these out, so I was able to pick up the Destro pop. Again, I'm not a big pop character or collector by any means, but it's Destro, and I do love Destro. Destro is by far my best one I like altogether. But
I hate to correct you, Mike, but actually there was some news out of New York Comic Con.
Why you gotta burst my bubble? I want to hear just trash.
Gotta ruin the joke, really?
Is this the crossover news for
That's
the
the
comics?
crossover.
Okay, I've said a crossover we just heard about. Yeah. Now what was it? Tell us about that, would you?
Basically, S.O. Gallant, the artist for the G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero comic book, and Ryan, what is his name? Ryan something or other, who has written, what was it that Ryan wrote? Anyway, they're going to do a $6 Million Man crossover with G.I. Joe.
And it's a Real American Hero G.I. Joe. So as not to compete with Adventure Team, which is ironic because Adventure Team's Mike Power was created originally as essentially a knockoff of Lee Majors' The $6 Million Man back in the day.
And don't the club have plans to do a similar uniform?
Well, they did. The club did Mike last year as their renewal figure, but yeah, I don't know if I don't know if they were going to do anything close, but
it seemed to me they announced something that they weren't going to call it the $6 Million Man, but it was something similar, like in a red tracksuit.
Okay, because I think he did have a track suit for the mountain training or something, but
it wasn't red. It was like blue suit.
Okay.
With some red, I think red outline on it. Was
I'll pull up a picture and send it to Mike real quick. We
you
know
want me to try to do something right?
Dude, you're the admin. The rest of us can't. Oh, actually, I can hold it up to the monitor, but that'll look awkward.
What is the whole show's awkward anymore? God.
I have to say, it's kind of a weird crossover for a real, because the $6 Million Man. I mean, that ran in the early 70s, and that is very much a 70s property, with the exception of they did a couple of reunion movies. I want to say late 80s and maybe early 90s to kind of when Lee Majors his hair went permy instead of being all flat, and it's kind of going to be an interesting to see how they put this together, because you've got a very 80s property and a very 70s property, and you're smushing them together and seeing what happens. So
it sounds like a typical Hasbro late to the game idea. All the DC stuff that's really been kind of cool with the Batman 66 and Wonder Woman 77 crossovers, and Batman and what was that other one they were doing?
Oh, they did Batman and the Avengers cross. The Patrick McNee Diana Rigg Avengers.
Yeah. So I mean, amazing. All of that stuff has been really cool. And then so I guess Hasbro's like, hey, wait a minute, we could do something, and then they're slapping it together, and you're like, well, all right, good luck. I hope that works. But
and the funny thing is if I remember correctly, the $6 Million Man was done originally by a different toy company. And so it's not published by IDW. Skinny, correct me on that, but isn't that currently published by another publisher? And so it's a cross-publisher title crossover, I want to say.
Dynamite, I think it was the Dynamite that's doing it.
That's it. That's exactly, because they've got a lot of nostalgia properties. So I mean, I'll read it because I'm old enough that I remember the $6 Million Man as a kid, barely. And it'll be cool. It'll be weird that they've got Snake Eyes on the cover, because I'm kind of over Snake Eyes these days. But
there's the uniform.
It's an odd crossover. Mike, if you go to Newsarama, I'll send you a link real quick. You can pull up the preview image or go to JBL's Facebook. I think I did a post to where I shared the link, and you can see the preview art, and it's like Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, the $6 Million Man, and the Sasquatch. And if you guys remember the original show, that Sasquatch was originally played by Andre the Giant, and he is freaking huge. So I don't know, that's it. It's definitely a different crossover. It's not one that I had seen coming. But
let me see.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the only Joe news out of and what's interesting is if you noticed, there's been no news. I think the modern G.I. Joe title I think was late this month. There wasn't an issue published, if I remember, and there's been no news about what's going on with the current writer who, there was some outcry over remarks he made about 9/11 and some of that, and there's been nothing. We actually reached out to see if we could get him to appear on the show, and IDW is not returning requests for interviews.
They would
right now.
They would, when I called IDW, they would not even return my phone call for a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was hoping we would get something. Because that book's kind of at limbo. I mean, granted, First Strike is going, so if you want to get your Joe fix, it's in that. But
is this right here where we go to? Can you see what I'm seeing?
I can see you.
Oh crap!
Don't move. There's a Ninja Turtle behind you.
Dog it.
Is that G.I. Joe Monopoly?
Yes, it is.
Do not pass go. Do not pass Cobra Law. Do not collect $200.
Man, I am having so much crap problem tonight. This is so unreal. Keep your signs away. What's it say?
Hashtag Mike Tech.
Mike Tech's out of business because we suck.
So yeah, I mean, New York Comic Con kind of interestingly quiet from IDW and yeah, there it is.
Is that what you want me to bring up?
If you click on that link, it'll take you to Newsarama, and they've got a larger version of that picture. And you can see this, again, the Andre the Giant Sasquatch is looming large in the background. And I'm like, well, that's going to be interesting.
There's a little guy up in the tree there, too.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't see that.
Right here.
Storm Shadow's legs, yeah.
That's all I think it says. It's white.
Yeah, scroll down, Mike.
I'm working on it. Dude, why am I having so much problems tonight? Oh my God, load up, damn it! Oh my God. Oh.
I can't even. Anyway, yep.
There we go.
Yeah, it's not a huge preview image, but it's like, clearly Lee Majors in his 70s tan jumpsuit that he rocked in that episode, the Sasquatch, and then you've got Snake Eyes. And somewhere in the corner, Mike Power is going, but guys, remember me? I'm the carbon copy.
Snake Eyes would be a real easy Muppet to do, but I don't know how I do that.
Oh my God! But it would be great because like you're doing this whole musical number, and they point to him to sing the next line, and he just stands there. And then they just, it would be like Guardians of the Galaxy. At the end of the first one when they're doing the dance off and Star-Lord's doing his thing and he goes, Gamora, and he throws it over and she just stands there and he's like, all right, taking it back.
Yeah, taking it back.
I can totally riff on that, but yeah, it from what Mike usually does where we talk about Joe news, it's been a fairly quiet front. The club hasn't had anything since we got the 6-figure previews from FSS. I was surprised that they actually showed us 6 painted samples this time. The comic's been quiet with Sitterson. Do you guys all read Hamma's comic?
I actually do the summaries for it on YoJo. So
okay,
yeah.
Yes. I should have known that. Duh. But have the rest of you guys been reading Hamma's comic? Because I was curious what you think of the whole, we're getting a female Snake Eyes now.
I love the character. I really do. It's a different take. It kind of reminds me of the TV show Chuck, where he stuck the intersect in his brain.
Okay.
I've been in contact with Nitho Diaz. Hope I'm saying that right. And I'm expecting good things for this story arc. So.
I haven't. I've got so many other comics. I have piles of them behind me I haven't even read yet. And I just got back from the comic book shop today. Skinny's freaking out like, Stephanie, are you coming or what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the comic shop. Give me a minute. And So I just barely saw the picture or whatever last week when they announced it, and I thought, oh well, that's interesting. I don't necessarily have a problem with it because to me, it's a lot like the movies. You know, everybody complained about the movies to some extent, but to me, it was like, all right, well, that's their storyline. Like, I can still love my Snake Eyes, I can still love my Flint, you know, that I've always loved. And this is just somebody else's take on it, and so I'm open to the idea. It does seem like it's, I don't know, without sounding sexist, it just seems like everybody's trying to just make everything a girl version of something else, and I'm like, well, why can't you just have a girl that's like equal? Why do you have to take one away to add one? Why can't you just have someone of equal abilities and
we're
writing?
done.
Well, and especially because when they killed the original Snake Eyes, they set up Sean Collins to be the next Snake Eyes. So you know, and it was almost, you know, you knew what it was. It was going to be Snake Eyes by a different name because, you know, the injuries were the same, similar background. So when I saw that they were turning Dawn into now kind of the embodiment of Snake Eyes, my first thought is, well, shit, what does this mean for, you know, poor Sean, who's like, but I'm disfigured and I can't talk either, and I'm wearing his clothes. And, you know, are they going to literally cast him aside now? Because now you have a female Snake Eyes that actually has the memories of the original.
Well, not to be spoilerific here, but they did in that battle in Springfield at the community center. At the end, they reunited Sean with his family.
That's true. So
where do you take it from there?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked the Devil's Due version of Sean a little better, where he was Kamakura. I thought that was kind of cooler. He was his own character. He was just an apprentice of Snake Eyes, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool, passing the torch. But he's his own man. You know, he's his own persona. So,
and that was the thing I liked about Dawn at first, is I like, oh, this is a cool new character. I mean, she's out on a field playing lacrosse and beats up this Cobra team by herself, and then she becomes Cobra Commander's bodyguard. I was hoping they would take her in her own direction, as a new, you know, bodyguard taking over for Storm Shadow, because Storm Shadow was Cobra Commander's bodyguard.
I was kind of hoping the same thing, is that this is a chance to interject some new blood into the comic and a new character that still fills an older role, like what Stephen was saying, is, you know, a character in their own right, still filling an existing specialty that we need filled, and so that's an evolution of the cast.
Because right now this sounds like she will just forever be known as Lady Snake Eyes or whatever. There will always be, she will never be her own self, because she's going to be this girl version of Snake Eyes. And so, you know, a lot of things like Star Wars, when they introduced Rey, and they have this huge like female push that they're doing with the Star Wars stuff. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, Rey's kind of a cool character. Whatever. I've still got my Luke Skywalker. Who cares? Yeah. But it wasn't until I'd seen like an Energizer commercial or a Duracell commercial where like the son's running through the house. Oh my God, we got to save her. Like, I got to get out there. She's like, all right, be back for dinner. And he goes outside and his sister's out there. And then she got to play the Jedi. And as a father of a little girl, I thought, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, a girl's never had a Jedi before. Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, we've got so many strong female characters in the G.I. Joe universe.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I'm not opposed to another one. A lady ninja would be cool. Absolutely. But I just don't see why she's got to replace or like try to take his spot, because the people that love Snake Eyes so much aren't really going to glom onto this that well. And then, you know, like I said, she'll always be in that shadow of who Snake Eyes was, and she won't really be able to be her own self because she's trying to be Snake Eyes. So I don't know. It could be cool. I'm open to it, but it just sounds like one of those weird things where they might be trying too hard.
It kind of reminds me right now of what they did when they had Wolverine, and then they introduced X-13 in.
23.
X-23, yes. Where So it's the next generation, happens to be female, but and their uniforms were similar.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from her now, because when they revealed her uniform, you know, she's got the visor and she's wearing predominantly black, but then it's got some of its own elements in it. Now, I don't know if Hama is, you know, because I mean, Hama said, you know, if anyone was going to kill off Snake Eyes, it was going to be him. However, Hasbro kind of said, no, you're not actually killing Snake Eyes off. You know, Snake Eyes had to be alive. And so, because, you know, when you read the books, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, a lot of them, that's pretty much Larry. You know, that they are stand-ins for a lot of aspects of Larry's life.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of hoping that this is his like one last kind of go with the Snake Eyes character, and then she kind of evolves more into her own character, you know, because I think that makes her, like you were saying to your point earlier, I think it makes her a stronger character if she is, you know, she learned from him, she learned from these memories, but eventually she becomes her own person, and you know, she's not slaved to always be, oh, it's Lady Snake Eyes.
Yeah. Well, if they do something like they did with Wolverine, I think that'd be cool. I mean, who wouldn't want an old man Snake Eyes storyline or whatever? That would be really cool. You know, and that's sort of what Marvel did, was they moved her into the spot as Wolverine, and she became all new Wolverine, and then Logan got to be Logan, and old man Logan.
Yeah.
You know, so if they can live in the same universe, that's cool. But you know, I think a lot of people might also be a little worried that because the Sean character, I mean, he's only been Snake Eyes for what, like a year?
And he's gone.
And he's gone. Yeah, like, well, I mean, so how long's this one's going to last? Until they get bored and move on to something else?
Well,
so, go ahead, Ski.
The problem with Sean is, and I'm seeing it on the boards, is automatically everybody called him Fake Eyes.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think Larry realized this isn't going to work, because it's just not the character that people are attaching themselves to. They're just seeing it as a replacement for Snake Eyes. And that's my fear, is that we're going to run into a Death of Superman situation where all of a sudden we have all these different versions of Snake Eyes out there. And then what are you going to do with them? Are you going to
and you
the
know,
characters
with
let
Death
them
of
go their
Superman,
own? Yeah.
are they, you know, we've seen how many times has Dr. Venom come back now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the book, Hama's brought
Twice.
Venom back twice. You know, is it going to be like, well, Venom's going to create another homunculus like he did with Serpentor? We're going to download Snake Eyes' memories into it, and boom, Snake Eyes. You know, the return of Snake Eyes. You know, are they going to go that route? Because again,
44?
this is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you read issue 244?
Not yet. Oh, with Mindbender.
No. You just basically gave the plot away for 244.
No!
Oh, you spoiled yourself.
Behind! Damn it!
Where's my piece of paper at? Hashtag Fred Spoiler.
Damn it! Oh!
Oh, I just want to say I'm excited to be a part of watching somebody spoil something for themselves. I've never seen that before. That's pretty amazing.
Son of a man.
You should use those psychic powers for good instead of evil.
Yeah, essentially, instead of screwing myself over, you know. Okay, since we've been talking about this too, I mean, what do you guys feel about a Real American Hero book as it's going now? Because, you know, one of the things back in the day was, you know, Larry has openly admitted that he kind of writes, you know, page by page. And so a lot of times Hasbro would come to him and they would be like, okay, you know, these are the characters we want you to showcase. And I think Larry was like, cool, this is kind of a challenge. He would take them, he would take those vehicles, and we got some really killer stories from it. Now I get the impression that it's more Larry directed. You know, it's him choosing what he wants to do. Do you feel that the title now is as good as it once was? I mean, you know, that being older, having that lens of nostalgia on you know, from the original Marvel run, does the new IDW book still hold up?
Well, like I said, I actually, the Death of Snake Eyes was where I kind of dropped off. I was like, okay, that was kind of neat. And then like I said, it's so many comics, that was just one of the ones that kind of fell to the wayside. And the way you're describing that, though, it's making me think more like, not necessarily because he's older, because there's this nostalgia, but more because it's like the Lennon-McCartney thing. I've seen studies, scientific studies, where creative things happen best in pairs. So without Hasbro really there pushing him and him pushing back, you don't get to build to a greater thing. It all gets to be just kind of pushing where whatever one guy just kind of feels like he's going. So that's where it seems like maybe if he had more support from Hasbro, if just the G.I. Joe brand had more support from Hasbro, right? Like,
every year in the 80s, he had something to draw from. Every year you had new characters coming out, and you could develop those characters. Now you've got very few new characters, and like he said in an interview or something like that, unless the character is sitting in front of him, basically he doesn't get any. Which is why it was great that somebody sent him a sightline. Another spoiler for issue 244 there.
No, I guess I'll go get that one.
Well, and I like how a while back he did an arc. I've been rereading the trades of Hama's IDW run, and I've only got up through trade 11, so I fell behind. And he did the arc where, if you guys remember, it was it Muskrat, Torpedo, Alpine, and Long Range, the Thunderclap driver, and he brought him out. And Larry, I don't know if somehow Larry had gotten like you said, he got the figure from somewhere, but Larry didn't use him at all in conjunction with the Thunderclap. Larry used him as a sniper, and I have never found Long Range more interesting than in that storyline. Here he did this. There's no Cobra in the book. It is literally a U.S. high-profile U.S. citizen is held hostage, and
Burkhart.
Yeah, Blakistan, and we're going to get her. And it turns out to be Adele Burkhart yet again. And he does what Larry does best, which is kind of when he can pull away from some of his standalone stories, where it's not Joe versus Cobra, are some of his best. Do you guys remember, and I think it was Burkhart before, when they rescued her in the original Marvel run, and it was Gung Ho and Roadblock and Rakondo and Stalker and
oh right, yep.
And it was an amazing arc because Larry drew on his military background, and he showed these guys, that hey, the odds are against them, but they're still, they're there to do a job. It doesn't matter if they agree with the person or not, and that was some of his best writing.
Yeah, the conflicting ideologies.
Oh, like he was so good at that. I kind of almost wish in a way, though, that we would see him be able to move beyond Cobra in some ways, because it hit me when I was reading through the trades. Cobra has not had a real win that's lasted since the creation of Cobra Island. That's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been a long time. I mean, because they just set up in that one subdivision, was it Rancho Corba? I love all these anagrams.
Yeah.
And then they left. They had to leave it. And it's like, oh, come on. I was just wanting to see Suburban Cobra again in California this time. And so
I wonder what brings that on, though, because you're right. I mean, it almost kind of makes it think of some of the more modern comic book movies where the villain doesn't seem that much of a threat because they're not allowed to be that much of a threat.
Yeah.
By the end they're going to die, so they've got 2 hours to come up with some crazy plan and then be offed. And so I wonder if maybe even Hasbro has that same kind of almost Disney Muppets weird list. Here's a list of things you can't do. Cobra can't win because they're the bad guys. But I think it would make for more interesting stories if Cobra could win one, and it was a lasting problem, or even if it's not Cobra, let Red Shadows win one or something, or anything like that. Just so that the Joe team doesn't seem so easy. you know, so it makes it look like they have to work for what they do.
The best stories are always the ones where, man, like the hero, the odds are 1,000 to 1, you know, and it's through perseverance and ingenuity, and you know, that to me is what really makes, you know, I love the first Expendables movie. And there's no way that, you know, they really should have come out of the end of that first one, but it was all the planning and all a little bit of luck, and it made the end of that. They still came out bloodied, but they, you know, you felt like, man, these guys beat some odds. And you know, I think back to, do you guys remember when Devil's Due had the book, and we got Joe Reloaded, which was a modern take. You know, they restarted the Joe team in present day. It was not a perfect book. You know, it got a little weird kind of toward the end, but they did their take on Cobra Island was Cobra took Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, holy crap. That's a win when the U.S. flag has to tear down one state, because Cobra took Hawaii and was like, well, if you don't leave us alone, we're going to detonate a nuke and turn the whole thing radioactive. And the government was like, shit, like our hands are tied. Like I feel like we need, you know, if Cobra is going to be in, like they need a win like that again. They need something where it's like, you know what, crap, we just lost Florida. It's now, you know, Cobra controls it or something.
Or even if it's not something that big, let them take Cuba. You know, then we could still have an enemy state, and it'll still be a win for Cobra, and it's still a big enough threat that you know, the Joes would have to really work on some diplomacy and some, you know, other odds that they're not used to. But
well, and Larry sometimes likes to get political, and you know, when you said that just hit me. So imagine a hurricane struck Puerto Rico, and suddenly, or it doesn't have to be Puerto Rico, and suddenly, who's the first one on site with the relief supplies? And suddenly, it's these blue flags, and I'm like, oh crap! Like, yeah,
oh, that'd be brilliant. I'd be down for
Larry.
that.
Yeah, do that. You know, I would read the heck out of that book.
Well, I was going to say I wanted to throw a little shout out for our friend Rosemary. They have RetroCon next Saturday. I think Saturday, Sunday, and they're going to have Arthur Burhart, the voice of Destro, there.
Oh,
so
cool.
If you're in the area, they are up in
Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, and they have a couple of the original A-Team members, Dwight Schultz
and Dirk Benedict both are going to be there, and they've got Rosemary and Tony did a recreation of the A-Team van that is theirs, so there will be photo opportunities to get your picture with Murdoch and Face at the A-Team van.
And then they also have Rob Paulstein. He is actually in the current TMNT Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles.
He was in the original too. He
was Paulson, then, not Paulstein. Paulson.
Yeah,
Paulson.
Yeah, he was Donnie in the new one, and he was Raph in the original.
Yep, that's correct.
And also the voice of Snowjob.
Do what?
He's the voice of Snowjob.
Dang, he's good.
So that's going on, and then our next show. We're actually, I mean, we've thrown this out here before, where we try to keep the show as fresh as possible. So if you are doing something in the Joe community, and you want to kind of get it out there a little bit more, contact me or Fred, and we'll swing around the idea, getting other things on the show, new talks. I'm actually talking to a guy. I want to start talking to a guy about talking about Facebook groups, the G.I. Joe Facebook groups. And the new thing going on there right now, which has seemed to be hitting off pretty good, is live auctions.
Oh my God, they're everywhere.
Exactly. That's what I want to talk about, how one person started doing it, everybody and their brother is doing it now. So we will save that one for another show, but that's something we're looking forward to, or we're going to look into doing. I think it'd be something interesting. And there's a lot of GI Joe fandom groups out there, you know, and but I mean, if you do something along the lines of you know, for GI Joe, and you know, you want to get it out there a little bit more than what you know than what you can do, and Lord knows you might get an extra 5 or 6 viewers because you came on our show. So 5, yeah, it's 5. Okay, I figured it's probably just 5. But we enjoy doing this. We have a good time. I know there's a couple topics I have in my mind that I want to talk about is vintage versus modern. You know, what's better? Which ones do you prefer?
Oh,
I think that'd be a good topic to have, and we're probably going to do another.
be some fighting words on that one.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll probably do another hangout edition like we did the day we did. We had Kurt on that early morning edition. We did
Yes.
a hangout edition that night, and then I'm looking into getting a big name guest for our 1 year anniversary in December. I got to send an email out, and hopefully he reads it and doesn't automatically block me. So hopefully that works out really well, and we'll go from there on that. And then, of course, anything we get from the club, we'll definitely talk about that because you know we love to talk about stuff from the club.
Well, and let's be honest, the club is pretty much our only product outlet for the next year. So
Easily the next year, it probably, well, at least 1 year, and then we know when the club is over with, they do have
a year.
one. They have a year, and I am currently, you know, I am a member of the Transformer Club, but anybody can be a member, not even be a member. Anybody can purchase anything from the Transformers Collectors Club. They actually threw up a big time sale, and basically what it is, it started last week, and every week they take 10% off.
Oh, wow.
So it's like it started off all their items 10% off, and then this Friday or yesterday they took an additional 10% off, and then all of a sudden they had all these archive items pop up,
Yeah.
all
They're
these extra
clearing
club.
everything.
I mean, all these other club box sets, all these extra, you know,
Pins.
pins. Yeah, the pins.
Yeah, that
I'm
kind of
waiting for
surprised
those.
me.
Wow.
I'm waiting for some of those to drop a little bit more in price. There's a couple I want to get a hold of.
Yeah, but $40 for a pin is asking a lot.
Yeah, you know, the club, they kind of marked some of it up and then they put it to a discount. Like some of the stuff they already had on additional sale before this. And then it was, okay, we're putting it on sale now, but we're going to jack it up another $300 and give you 10% off of that. You know, something to that, what they're doing. But I mean, if you want to wait and, you know, take the risk, you know, you can take the risk. I mean, some items sold out fast, and some people are like, man, I can't believe that sold out. Well, apparently somebody was willing to pay the money more than you were.
Yeah.
You know,
And they
Well,
only may have had like 4 or 5 left of some things.
exactly. Like, you know,
Because they don't show quantity. It's you know, it's not like one of those where you can go on there and see, you know, well, we've only got 15 left. You know, it's kind of a crapshoot.
right. And you're kind of like, you know, like this is October, so you can kind of think maybe October, you know, the year after next, you know, start watching, you know, they'll throw up a sale. They'll do sales. I mean, there's not a lot of club or con stuff out there, but I mean,
Well, there's not a lot out there in their shop now.
Right.
But to your point, they probably keep so many copies back, you know, like when
Quality
we
control.
had Bobby on and he was talking about like Hasbro. Hasbro has this incredible archive where, you know, Bobby's describing going down the halls and, oh, look, there's 5 Defiants. What?
exactly.
You know, there's 5 flags. And I'm like, how can I break into this place and drop that number to 4? You know, and I would expect, you know, they would have, you know, some of this. And then eventually, because I think the club's run out of Brian's house. I think
Yes,
that's
it is.
their office. And I think, you know, when all this is said and done, are you going to want to keep that around, or are you going to want to clean out the garage and put the riding mower in the corner? You know, I don't know.
You know, it's funny you should mention that. A couple of years ago, I was, actually, it was longer than that. It was probably 4 years ago.
You showed up on his lawn, didn't you?
I showed up at his gate, his community gate, to get in. I couldn't get in. I put in the address, and the address takes
Oh,
you
God.
to a community,
I think
you know,
gated
a housing,
community.
a gated community. Yeah, it's a huge freaking gate.
Was it
Yeah.
called Rancho Corba Acres?
You know, I actually took a picture of it. I think I even started a thread on TFW about it. I'm like, I pulled up to the gate and I was looking at the pin pad, and then there was someone behind me. I'm like, hey, I got to back up. So I backed up, and I could just followed and run in there and kept on going.
I'm totally picturing Mike in there, like John Cusack style, where he's in the trench coat holding the boombox over his head on Savage's lawn, playing Cold Slither, you
And
know.
let me tell you what, I stuck out like a sore thumb if I had showed up, because I have a 2010 Transformer Edition Camaro. So I was in my Camaro. So if I'm going down there, they were like, yeah, someone called 911. We got a stalker out here.
Either that or security. We've got another one of Savage's people here. That's another one of those white people.
One of them nerds.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. Good time. But anyways, so we're going to call the show there. I appreciate our guys coming on. I guess David already had to jump off already. Okay. Skinny, tell people, you know, again, your YouTube page where they can go on and watch all your videos.
It's Barking Fridge is the name of the page.
All one word.
Yep, all one word. And then I do have a playlist on there for all the Muppet videos. So.
Yeah, I actually looked at it earlier. I was able to see everything of that nature. So, well, great. I appreciate you coming on. And thanks for, you know, we really enjoyed the videos. They're actually pretty fun to watch. And if you guys do come to JoeCon, you definitely probably need to bring at least one or two of them with you. And, you know, being the last show, you got to walk around with a Muppet on you and just, you know, I mean,
I swear it has to happen.
I mean, because whether Savage lets us have it or not, me and Fred are going to walk in on the panel and start talking.
What are they going to do?
Panel?
Kick us out of 2019?
Yeah. Yeah, we're just going to walk
We
in
love
and say,
you, Brian.
we're over here in the corner. This is our panel over here.
Bring your own speakers and a microphone. Be like, wait.
Oh no, we'll take the megaphone. A megaphone.
You know what? You know what it's going to turn into? It's going to turn into Mystery Science Roundtable. Brian's up there. Mike and I are like in the front row with the silhouette of golden ticket chairs by us.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, you're giving me too many ideas.
You bring two of the puppets, and it's like Crow and Servo, and we're done. We've just created it. Mystery Science Joe.
Oh my gosh, dude, we got too many ideas, and there's not gonna be enough time to do everything. It's so funny.
This has to happen.
JoeCon is going to be something else this year. So I think, you know, if you get a chance, y'all got to come. People got to come to JoeCon. It's going to be, you know, unless, knock on wood, maybe they'll come back. Like, hey, we're going to give Savage 2 more years.
Hey, it doesn't seem like they've got any plans for G.I. Joe, so maybe they'll go, well, we'll let the Cub keep going then, because we're kind of at a stalemate. So it's possible.
And we might actually, I actually like to reach out, Fred, on a couple of the guys who went to HasCon that been on the show before, and see what they, you know. Of course, I know a couple of them would probably be not. I don't want to say biased because they were part of it.
Well, you know what? You know who we could talk to.
I know 2 people. I was thinking of Dan and
I'm thinking
Carson.
Daryl.
Oh, DePriest?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, that's
Daryl. It can't hurt.
I think you'll talk to anybody that asks, so
Yeah.
you might as well ask.
And Daryl, you know, the thing is, people always forget about Daryl is also a Joe fan.
He's
Daryl is a different era than a real American hero. He was more the 12-inch. Guy wrote a book on it that's actually really good.
Right. So,
Yeah, let's see if we
we're
can
gonna reach out on some stuff, try to get some stuff rolling, and again, if y'all got any ideas, you know, or you got something you do for the community, reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do. Also, something I have not mentioned in quite a while, and I need to mention it, is that, you know, when we do get pictures of people's collections or customs, we like to show them off. So if you got a collection of anything, as far as G.I. Joe goes, just G.I. Joe figures. We don't want collections of anything oddball or anything that we shouldn't be showing on YouTube. So we keep that to yourself.
Oh,
So
man, there goes my anvil collection.
Oh,
You send it to me. I want to see. That sounds fun.
But yeah, send us those pictures or message us. Hold on, Skinny's looking for something. He's grabbing something.
Uh-oh.
What's he got? What is that, stick?
This
Ooh.
is
It's a snake eyes sword.
Sword.
A storm shadow.
short
Oh,
sword
his sword. That's right.
from
Yeah.
Rise of Cobra.
Oh, that's
This is
from.
what they used in the movie.
Oh, really?
Did you get that through that prop auction?
Prop store London.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Long time ago. When they first started selling the memorabilia, I got one of the swords.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
That's
like one of
part
the
of my
only good parts of that movie.
All right. Well, great. Y'all know where to find me at on Twitter as BotconFan1978, and you can find Fred anywhere underneath Joe Battle Lines. And keep a lookout. He's going to get those videos out sooner or later.
One of these years.
One of these years. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone who watched and everyone who will watch on a video form afterwards. Thanks a lot.